Welcome to our fourth quarter review and 2021 outlook. I'm Scott with Sierens Financial Group, and today we're going to talk about the topsy-turvy year that we experienced last year with a primary focus over the last 3 months, a contested election, spiking coronavirus cases causing more and more restrictions in different cities and states, but with some good news in the fourth quarter of vaccines coming out. So being able to see more light at the end of the tunnel, looking very optimistic. We're going to then move into a 2021 outlook, and we're going to end with opportunities and strategies that you may wish to take a look at based on that 2021 outlook. Now, while today's focus might be more heavily on the equity markets, I think it's always important to remind everybody that there are 5 key areas in financial planning: income planning, tax planning, estate planning, health and long-term care planning, and then investment planning. So while today's webinar might be more focused on the equity markets, as a comprehensive wealth management firm, it's really important that we consider all of the impacts of any recommendations that we make on all of these 5 key areas. Now, taking a look back at the fourth quarter, there's definitely some different factors that drove the equity markets. Obviously, the biggest news of the fourth quarter and all of 2020 was the coronavirus pandemic. By mid-December, every state and territory within the United States had at least 10,000 cases, with states like California and Texas topping over the 1 million mark. And unfortunately, at that same time, within the fourth quarter, the United States also passed over 300,000 deaths. The fourth quarter, we also had one of the most hotly contested elections ever, not only before, during, and also after the election. Joe Biden was named our new president of the United States, and then we also had to have a runoff election in Georgia, and it looks like in 2021, going forward, the Democrats will have majority in both the House and the Senate. Now, some good news that we received in the fourth quarter: both Pfizer and Moderna announced their COVID-19 vaccines, which started rolling out in December across the United States. And these vaccines can really help us feel like we're starting to get back to some sort of normal. So this will continue to be a focus you'll see as we look at the 2021 outlook. Now, markets soared in the fourth quarter on the heels of the election announcements, on the heels of the vaccine announcements. The Dow Jones had its best ever November since 1928. The NASDAQ had its best ever November since 2001, and the S&P 500 reported its best November ever. Unfortunately, the positivity in the market hasn't fully carried over to small businesses and workers. Unemployment levels remain stubbornly high in the fourth quarter. We even saw a little bit of an uptick in unemployment claims in early December. Part of that might be because that's just before the CARES Act unemployment benefits were set to run out. However, as you've seen in the second stimulus package, there were unemployment benefits that were part of that second stimulus package. Now, while it was an interesting year, Americans still spent money in the early holiday season, but where they spent money was more online. Retailers made $10.8 billion in Cyber Monday sales, and we saw a 22% uptick in online spending on Black Friday. So while major retailers and those that have shifted their businesses online have won big during the pandemics, some of the small businesses, retail shops, locally owned businesses have still struggled to stay afloat. So with 2020 behind us, let's look forward into 2021. We're definitely optimistic about the outlook, but there are still several questions that must be answered and challenges to overcome, especially in this first quarter. Now, I'm going to say the watchword for 2021, and I'll say especially for this first quarter, is caution. While markets will like signs that the economy is getting closer to reopening fully, we still need to have caution as we go through the first quarter and through the year, and we'll talk about some of the reasons why. But here's some of our short-term market measures. Looking at GDP, gross domestic product, and oil, we feel that those two are short-term positive. Unemployment, the equity markets, fixed income, and consumer confidence, we look at that right now as kind of short-term neutral. And then we have begun to see that we feel that there's lower volatility in the market. So when you add all this up, our economic outlook is short-term positive. Also in 2021, and especially in this first quarter, is going to be, all eyes will be focused on the rollout of the vaccine. Now, if the distribution of the vaccine goes well, it could mean that our economy and our lives begin to get back to some sort of normal. However, if we may see some volatility in the market if the vaccine rollout doesn't go as smoothly as we'd wished. Another area that we're going to continue to watch in the first quarter is President Biden and his first 100 days and actions he takes around the pandemic, as well as any new policies. There's already talk on the table of additional financial relief. Also, President Biden campaigned around some changes in the energy sector. So it'll be interesting to see any new policies that may come up in regards to those industries. Also, we now have the Democrats that have majority in both the House and Senate. So we could see some major policy changes throughout the year. Now, typically, things don't happen in Congress overnight, but this will be something that we want to keep our eyes on over the next 6 months and 1 year. With that, let's take a look at what opportunities and strategies you may wish to consider looking forward into 2021. Our responsibility is to look at all the different situations and guide our clients with ideas. Our main goal is to consistently search for opportunities to help our clients help them put their best foot forward. The first area of focus is to review your savings. 2020 might have been for some, may have been a stressful year. And if so, now is a great time to review your savings. How much do you have in your emergency fund or reserve fund or in your war chest? Do you have the right amount saved? If not, you may wish to kind of forego some other things and make sure that you've got the right amount of savings to help you feel comfortable in the event of another event such as a COVID-19 pandemic. Now is a great time to review that. Make sure you've got the right savings for your situation. I know a lot of times we can talk about financial planning and we put a lot of energy into asset allocation and withdrawal strategies, but this is a really important part of an overall plan. Next, every year with clients, we take a look at their risk tolerance as well as the balance that they have between their growth assets and those assets that are on the safer side of their portfolio, or what we like to call the war chest. With interest rates being low, this becomes important. Our clients have an income plan in place, which helps them then determine the comfortable balance between how much is on the growth side and how much is in that war chest. Now, in his campaign, President Biden announced a lot of different tax proposals. While nothing is passed, it is quite possible that current tax laws might change. So a strategy to keep in mind is Roth conversions. If you feel that you could be in a higher tax bracket in the future, or if you feel that tax rates might go up in the future, a Roth conversion may be something that you wish to consider. Taking money at a known tax rate and putting it in taking money at a known tax rate, paying taxes on it, and putting it into the bucket that can grow tax-free and be withdrawn from tax-free as well. This is a strategy to monitor, but I would wait towards the end of the year to determine any final moves. Long-term investing, it's not a sprint, it's a hike. It's not a clear path. There's going to be gentle dips, steep climbs, sharp drops along the way. But the important thing is to remain focused on the horizon. Sure, it's definitely good to check your footing along the way, especially when we're on rough terrain. But the destination, that's what's most important to be focused on. Now, if you have questions along your way, don't hesitate to contact our office. We're here to serve as a guide and help you navigate that trail ahead. So as we say farewell to 2020 and move on to 2021, as I had mentioned, the pandemic is going to continue to play a factor in the first quarter. But as the vaccine continues to roll out, hopefully things will continue to return to more normal type of activity quarter by quarter. Remember, stay focused on the big picture and ignore the daily and weekly noise. I hope you found value and benefit in this today, and if so, help us help others. Feel free to share this with your friends, neighbors, or coworkers. Thanks, and have a great day.